With an update. So Matt has done a few dates on his tour so far. He's got a big one coming up in a couple of weeks in London. Tickets still available. So yeah, after only like one show or something, the joystick was broken. I actually made him three, right? So he had backups. There was no issue, but I was absolutely blown. My mind was blown that the public broke the joystick because it was so strong. Um, but I think what you have to remember is that this is before the show starts, and the Pac-Man screen is on stage, and so the people like one person at a time in the audience is playing with the joystick. So I think they're in a heightened state of like anxiety. So I suspect they're probably a little bit heavy-handed on the joysticks, and the joysticks do feel a little bit weird. So compared to modern joysticks, so it might be that people aren't very used to them. But look, I've got this picture over here. Let's see if I can get the picture to work. Oh, now let's see. Screen share. There we are. Right, so you can see this was the state of the joystick, and it was actually the PTG section that broke off. So that I've actually got it here. In fact, this is probably a good. No, I'll just show you it. Look, it's right here. So this is a recreation of the issue. I thought I'd try and break one at home to see if I could figure out what it was. So yeah, it was like, if you imagine, like, this part is one part and this base is another part, and you saw the bolt goes all the way through. So it literally snapped off at the bolt. And in order to get this to happen, I had to really, really bend it inside this tube. Pulled it, and finally snapped. It was like really hard. So yeah, well, here we are. Look, what's PTG? Friend, look, see, I got my comment plugin. It's so fancy. It's actually PETG. Don't ask me what it stands for. Polyethylene something, glycol, maybe glycerin. Um, it's a type of plastic commonly used in 3D printers. Um, it's it needs to be printed hotter than the PLA, the cheap 3D printing material that is very common. But it's good because it is a lot stronger, and it's got a sort of slight amount of give to it. So it's the perfect option for this. Would printing it horizontally help? Possibly. I did think about that. It's quite a hard shape to print horizontally. Tell you what, let's go to my screen, because I can show you what it is on Fusion 360. So here you can see how this joystick is made. You can see the section that goes through there, and there's a little nut in the bottom there that the bolt screws into. But today I redesigned it. Here's the redesign. Right, so you can see there's a lot more. I'm using a much longer bolt, and I've also made these walls thicker. But yeah, you can see this part. Oh, you know what? My menu seems to have disappeared. Fusion 360 is. Oh, there it is. It's fine. Fusion 360 is fine. But you can see the stick section. So let's just turn off the analysis. Like, you can see that I could potentially print it on its side, but it would require a lot of support, I think. And particularly those sort of fins at the bottom, I think would be quite difficult to print sideways. So instead what I did is I actually just printed it in flexible filament. It was the Ninja, like I mentioned before, the Ninja Tech Cheetah, not Ninja Flex, but Cheetah. So lots of people asking questions. Oh, There we are, polyethylene tetrafluorate, fluorate glycol. I mean, I did pretty well, didn't I? I got like 3 out of 4. What's the software? Yes, Autodesk Fusion 360. Right, so yeah, what did I do? I printed it in slightly flexible, and here it is. So this is the new version, and you can see that this base is in flexi filament, and now also the top is in flexible filament, which is a bit weird because these joysticks obviously never were like super bendy, like the middle section at least was always relatively rigid, but now it's let's put it all together, why not test it out. If you have any questions about this, please feel free to ask, or otherwise I'll just do a short, it can be a short live stream, that's okay. Thanks for joining my second channel, by the way. Make sure that you're subscribed. Oh, you think I'd be better at putting these together by now, eh? Oh, I'm putting it in upside down, that's probably why. It's going well today, Seb. Yeah, good work. Good work, buddy. Nice one. Is it that way? There we are. Right, so now let's just see if we like pull it down, keep going. I mean, can I break? I don't think. I mean, that's. We'll see. We'll see. I'll print some more up for Matt. He can replace them, test them out on his DVD recording. I believe on the 21st of April. Tickets still available. So yeah, let's see if the public can get through that. Yes, steel skin. It does look a bit weird. I don't know what the options are. Are those 4 laptops on top of each other behind me? No. It's 5 laptops on top of each other. I've got a lot of laptops. I bought like 12 or something for Laserlight City because every site needed its own laptop, and then we had some backups as well. So I have a whole bunch of really terrible ThinkPads, Lenovo ThinkPads. They're like 8 years old model, and it's really awful. Right. Try bending it back and forth like you're playing Pac-Man. Are you satisfied, Ethan? Are you satisfied? I could just bend it until it breaks, but I don't know. Should I bend it till it breaks? Should I deliberately break it? That's my phone ringing. Ugh. I don't think I can break it. But let's see what the audience can do, eh? Right, how did I create those Pac-Man ghosts? That's actually a present, a birthday present from my brother Tony. So I didn't make them, but I think I would like to hack it. So yeah, let me know what you think. Okay, what else do I have to talk about? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the case a little bit. So it's here. So let's just look at this. It's quite good when you can get hold of like models of the actual microcontrollers, because then you can actually or the prototype boards, because then you can make really accurate models. Although sometimes I have a tendency to make them too small. Like you really do need quite a bit of tolerance with the accuracy of the 3D prints. But yeah, the bits on this that I'm particularly proud of, well, first of all, let's get rid of the base and my logos. Yeah, I've got my logo on too, look. This one I made for Beck Hill, because she had a radio controlled thing in her show as well. But yeah, let's just have a look. There's a few, two or three things I'm really proud of. The first one is these holes here. They point directly. In fact, let's just think if I move back in the timeline a bit, and let's turn the model on again. Oh, I don't remember when I moved it. There you go. Right. So you can see the model there, the lid, perfectly lines up with the lights on the board. So yeah, I mentioned it in the video, but can you just see those little LEDs through there? So what you can do is get a bit of 1.75mm 3D printing filaments and just put it in that hole, and it works really well as a light pipe. So I think you saw it in the video, but those are just little light pipes. Super fun. Okay, but the buttons are the really cool bit in this, and it took me ages to get it right. But let's turn off the sketches. So this is the big button there, and you can see that sort of spring that is printed. And when it comes out, this button is flush with the surface, but when you put it in the board, it actually pops it out and sticks it out to make it protrude. So you can see, can you see on there, the button is just slightly protruding. We'll have a closer look at that in a minute. There you go. How close can I get it? There. See the little protrusion? So yeah, it's pretty fun. And there's also a button in there for the reset that's built in to the feather. So this button was one that I soldered in, and this one is the reset button that's on the feather. Right, let's have a look at your comments. Right. Are all you British YouTubers together? So when's your review collab with Ashens? I don't know who Ashens is. But yes, I know all British YouTubers, all the nerd ones. Was it a project of 2 hours here and there, or was it more involved? It was a big project, I think. But it's one of those projects. Okay, so I mean, I guess I'd already made the joystick. I'd already hacked it a little bit, but it was one of those things that sort of escalated. It was like, oh, I could just do it real quick and then mat it. But then I sort of got into it for the fun of it, you know? I kind of got into it for the fun of it, and then, you know, when that happens, it's you always get very in-depth. Okay, well, I think that's probably all I have to say about the joysticks for now. Oh, yeah, there was that trick that I mentioned, which is, let's just open this up. So when you want to put a button on a feather or an Arduino or something, you usually have to connect to like ground on one side and a GPIO pin, general purpose input output pin, on the other side, and you set an internal pull-up resistor on the GPIO pin. So when the switch gets pushed, it pulls that GPIO pin low, and it switches, and it's recognized that the switch has been pressed. But if you don't have access to a ground pin, you can actually just wire it to any other GPIO pin. If you're not short of GPIO pins, then that's a totally fine thing to do. So here, you can see that little button down there. I've just soldered it across 2 GPIO pins. And what I've done is, like, you can see there I've soldered it between A0 and A2. So I've set A0 as an output and set it to go low, which means that now it's ground, right? And then I've set A2 as an input pull-up, and that's the actual pin that I'll be checking. So when that goes low, then the button is pushed. Or rather, I should say, when the button is pushed, then A2 will go low. What's the range of that thing? I don't know, actually, but it's worked across some pretty big venues. I think that I think that is I think it's got a theoretical very long range, but in reality it's much more complex. Um, aren't those analog ports? They are analog ports, but an analog port is just a port that can do analog inputs. You can also set them to digital inputs or outputs. So yes, they can. Thank you, Stillskin. All right, I think that's all I have. So unless there's any other questions, thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe to my extra channel. This is where I'll post all the extra nerdy things. Yeah, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.